searching for an answer, but I ain't found one. I've been known to tear shit up and go off like a gun. I've been drinking way too much, but now I think I'm done. Fuck that shit, let's start a riot. Let's start a riot.
Alright, welcome back everybody.
Welcome back.
That was Hollywood Undead Riot.
I heard that one. I like it.
Yeah, pretty good song. I got a new CD out. Anyways, I'm Matt.
I'm Jimmy.
We're two average guys. So welcome back. We got week 10 is over and done with. We had some crazy games again.
Every week, man, never
we
fails.
kind of we had the right games down, and we thought there'd be some craziness this weekend. One in particular game that we'll talk about here in a little bit was a little more crazy and a little one-sided, a little lopsided. We didn't really expect that, so we'll talk about that as well.
I think you know what we're talking about.
But what I want to talk about first is Huskers.
Okay.
So yeah, get it out of the way. So Nebraska loses again. We are now stuck at
4-5.
another 4-win, 4-5 right now is a losing record. We lose 31-24 in overtime to Northwestern. So what were your thoughts?
Yeah, you know,
What do you think?
we didn't play a bad game. I mean, Tanner was 3 picks, obviously, but you know, after last week, I didn't think we were going to be able to run at all, and I thought the game plan was going to be pass, but they decided to run the ball a little bit, and we actually could, and that opened up the passing game, which was pretty decent.
Yeah.
But just altogether, play calling again was pretty weak, especially in the red zone, especially on third down.
We got in the red
Same thing every week.
We got in the red zone a couple times, and we have. I think they said in the previous 2 or 3 games we'd only been in the red zone 3 times, which means we're not scoring in the red zone. We're scoring on a little bit longer plays, so longer than 20 yards. But so you're right. Yeah, it wasn't a terrible game by Nebraska, but Tanner Lee 3 interceptions, and you know I saw someone yesterday wanting to blame the offensive line on the interceptions, and really you can only blame one of the interceptions on the offensive line. And even then, I don't know if I'd go as far as saying it was the offensive line's fault.
Right.
The guy made a good move, and Farniak, is that his name? Forniak on our offensive line, number 71, long hair.
Yeah.
He's awful. I mean, they double teamed one guy, and the other guy came across the line, went through a wide open hole on a stunt, and he drilled him as he threw the ball. Not Tanner Lee's fault. I mean, he had an open receiver, he was going to make a throw, and then he just got drilled as he threw it. And that happens sometimes. But the other two,
Yeah, I mean that's kind of a bummer at that point because if he didn't throw that interception, we'd kick a field goal at least there and win the game.
And the other one of the interceptions, they threw it right to the defender. I mean, and the announcer's like, "Oh, they couldn't see him." I highly disagree. There's no way he couldn't see him. He threw it right to where the guy
He
was.
probably could have thrown a couple more too. I mean, they dropped a couple.
They did.
That could have been easily.
And then the other interception that they had was undercut. He cut in front of our receiver. Problem with that is he was throwing from right to left, and he was throwing to the far side of the field from where he was almost at the right hash. It's a long throw for one, and it wasn't there. I mean, the pass wasn't there. But it seems to me with Tanner Lee in our offense is we don't make any adjustments. And we talked about this before. There's no audibles. There's no, hey, I see this on the defense. I read the defense, and this is what I see. I'm going to change it up because it's not going to work. It's even the play where we had the swing pass, and we were talking about that.
Yeah.
We were going to talk about that a little earlier. The swing pass out to the right. And Stanley Morgan was trying to block.
They ran into each other.
Morgan missed his block as the ball is coming, and right when a guy came in front of Tanner Lee and he was going to pass it, he pump faked because he was going to throw it right into the defender.
Right.
And
he still threw it. I
it.
couldn't believe that.
And by that time, the guy was past Morgan, and he was already on top of Pearsonell, and then he almost hit Morgan. I mean, Morgan almost caught it, but
he could have been
it wasn't a smart pass. At that point, when the play's broken, you got to go somewhere else.
That's the problem. He can't move. So, like, in a situation like that, with somebody like Tommy last year, it wouldn't have been there. He would have tucked it and ran for 10 yards.
Yeah.
Or 7 yards.
Or
whatever it gave.
Or at least throw it away. I mean,
right.
do one or the other, but I mean, he doesn't throw the ball away, so
He
instead,
doesn't really throw the ball away.
Instead, he almost throws another interception, but it's definitely an incompletion. But he puts the team in danger when he throws a pass like that of giving up more points, and it just wasn't there. And I think that's where coaching comes in, is the reading of defense. Now, I'm not sure what the coaches at Tulane did with him, but coming into Nebraska, and even the guys are still talking Tanner Lee as a pro prospect. I don't see what they're seeing, because the guy he doesn't read a defense. There's another play where we ran a terrible screen pass.
Screen passes are just trash.
You have to have a good offensive line to run a screen. And we don't have that. And the quarterback, we got to be able to hit him as well.
That was what happened in overtime.
Yep.
We were going to do a screen. And the problem with doing a screen and not having a mobile quarterback is what happens. He steps back, and he's going to wait a second. Well, then he waits 2 seconds, 3 seconds, and then he gets crushed for a sack.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And I don't know. I don't. We threw another pass where Pierce Snell was coming across on a slant, but his slant route was literally behind the defensive line and in front of the linebackers. He got hit right away. I think our play calling is still garbage. Our red zone play calling is still garbage. We should have at least been able to score in overtime, and we weren't even close. I mean, it just wasn't. It wasn't even fair how far off we were from closing that game.
And on the other side, their first play in overtime, they get 13 yards on a run.
Yeah. Well, and you even look at our first drive. So we come out.
The first drive is incredible.
Our first drive?
Yes, incredibly bad.
I was gonna say no. What are you smoking?
We all look at each other, the guys I was watching, and we're like, "How do you practice all week and then that's what you come out with?"
And you go 3 and out.
A 3 and out, and you get 2 yards, 3 yards, and just look completely flat.
Yeah.
You're coming at home. It was a good day. The weather was nice, looked like the crowd was pretty packed. The stadium was packed. And you come out with that?
Yeah. I think the first play was a pass. The first play was a bootleg. And actually, I was really excited. He rolled out on a bootleg.
Yeah.
And I got really excited. And then it was a terrible pass. But he was wide open. Great bootleg. Great play calling, Langsdorf, but you got to hit the pass. The wide receiver, wide open. And he waited too long to throw it. He was open, and by the time he threw it, it was a terrible pass. And then
he was. He waited too long. He was open. He should have thrown it like 2 or 3 steps earlier.
Yeah, the second play, we tried to run in between the tackles. We have a bad young offensive line and an injured offensive line that doesn't block in between the tackles. We don't open up holes there. Yet we run up the middle. I don't get what is Langsdorf and what are they seeing?
There was and I don't know the exact numbers, but listening to the radio this week, some guy ran the numbers for this year. On like 43% of our rushing attempts have been for 2 yards or less, and like 13% of them have been 0 or negative, something like that. It's unbelievable.
And so, we talk about Nebraska, and everyone looks in the past, look at what Nebraska used to be, and that's what people are struggling with. Is we are not a passing team. We never have been. We've had plenty of dual threat quarterbacks. Eric Crouch could run, he could throw. Tommy Armstrong, his throwing was but at least he could throw the ball and he could run.
He could throw the ball far.
Yeah,
he just couldn't throw it.
He wouldn't have the accuracy.
He just couldn't throw it close.
So you look at that, and that's why people are mad, is because we're going away from why Nebraska was always good, and it was that run game. Whether it was the option or standard runs, I formation.
You have to be able to pass the ball.
The standard I formation is gone, but yes, you have to be able to pass the ball.
You have to be able to pass the ball, but, yeah, I mean, look at Wisconsin. Their quarterback's not very good.
Yeah.
He has to pass a little bit here and there, but they just run it down your throat.
When they're winning games and only throw 20 to 25 passes a game, that's where Nebraska used to be.
That's like Alabama too.
Yeah.
They don't have to pass.
Well, their defense,
they do.
Their defense wins them games, but
but you run the ball and play defense. That's why Nebraska was always good. I don't know.
It's frustrating as a fan, and it's nothing. And honestly, it's nothing against. I mean, they're kids. They're younger than us. They're 18, 19, 20, 21 years old. So they're young guys. So you have to look at that too. But at the same time, we talked about last week. What are the coaches doing to prepare these kids for the game? You want them to be successful, but what are you doing to prepare them? Because we look totally unprepared almost every game we play, and that is frustrating.
There's a difference between, there's these kids are 18 to 22, and so a game like maybe Iowa and Ohio State, or maybe that's too much of a stretch. Maybe one of the other, a game where a top 25 team loses to somebody that they shouldn't.
Yeah.
That's different than 18 to 22-year-old kids that just look bad every week.
They lost.
Yeah.
They legitimately look lost on the field.
And I don't know if you saw Diaco after or heard. I didn't watch it or listen to it, but I just kind of read what he said.
He said they're not
developed.
developed.
And it just doesn't make sense what he's saying. And not only that, but some of these players were really good last year.
Yeah.
And they don't look the same. So something's different, and it's not good.
Yeah, and Diaco said that they're not developed for the type of defense. Then why are we running a 3-4 if they're not developed enough?
You don't have to run that.
We had the off season to get them prepared for this. We had the off season and during the season to still practice and get better, and we haven't gotten better. Our defense did not play terrible yesterday. They've gotten a little better throughout the year, but we're still missing a lot of tackles. We're missing a lot of wide open receivers, and we're not on them. They're throwing a ball. We can't cover a running back coming out of the backfield if our life depended on it.
I know.
Our best guy on defense is Weber. Now Weber's actually had a pretty darn good year at linebacker. He's one of our best defensive players. We did have
Marcus Newby played pretty.
Marcus Newby
played
had a
pretty
good
well
year,
yesterday.
or a good game.
And
yesterday.
we were without Gifford.
Yeah,
that
Gifford's
hurt,
out. But once again, you look at the beginning of the game. Our first drive, 3 and out. Their first drive, they drive down the field with ease. Their first 2 plays, I think they got. I know their first play they got a first down, 12 yards, I think, on the run. Their second play they got a first. I mean, they just went downfield as if we weren't even there. I mean, that's not something we haven't seen all year. We've seen it more than once where we come out and just look flat, and the other team comes out looking ready to kick the crap out of us. So it's one of those things where we got to be better prepared, and we're not. I don't know what our coaches are doing, but they got to do something different.
It's just like they're too. It's just like
we got to be better.
It's just like going through the motions kind of thing. It's like
Mike,
we gave it a good try.
And I've said it before, and I'm gonna say it again. Show some damn emotion on the sideline. Mike Riley, up and down, just arms crossed, no emotion. And he's been this way since he got there, and that's what I love about Bo. He got fired up. And he got fired up on the kids. If they did something good, he was telling them. If they did something bad, he was telling them. If it wasn't him, it was another coach on the sideline. You get nothing from. I don't see a single coach talking to any of the players at all during the game.
And then the other guys are upstairs, so that's I can't even talk.
Now, and you would think having Diaco and Langsdorff upstairs in the booth, be able to see down on the field, they'd be able to do better. But our offensive play calling still sucks. The defense is suspect still. So what are they not seeing from upstairs that they would see on the field? I don't know, but you got to be able to talk to your players. And no, Mike Riley, you're ho-hum, man. Like, that's why people are starting to not like you, because that nice guy mentality is not a place for you to be at in football.
Yeah,
man, you got to have some attitude. If your team makes a mistake, yell at them.
You can be nice with the media and everything after the game. During the game, you do something.
They're young adults. They can take someone yelling at them. They're in sports. They've been yelled at before.
You should get yelled at.
So
that's how you get motivated.
Yeah.
That's how you. That's how you do anything in sports.
So here's Mike Riley. It's funny. He's actually at one point in the game. One of the guys, I think it's Matt Millen. I think is his name. For one, he keeps on thinking Tanner Lee's mobile. He was the one talking about it all game, which cracked me up. But he says during the game, Nebraska had a play, and he goes, "That's a good play call, Mike Riley." I look at my dad, and I'm like, Mike called that? Did Riley call that play? Because I'm pretty sure he's not the O coordinator. I mean, I don't know what the head coach is doing, because all he's doing is walking up and down and arms crossed.
Yeah,
I mean, look, he looks uninterested in what is going on in the game. And I think that's a big part of that head coaching that we're missing, is somebody who gets fired up on the sideline and talks to the kids. Just talk to them. Whether you're yelling at him or not, just say something. But he's nothing. He actually doesn't care. And that's what bothers me more. And that's why rumor mill. Here's something I didn't tell you.
Okay.
Rumor mill. Husker fans, some are going to be excited, some are going to be questioning it, some are going to try to look it up. You're not going to find it anywhere. Rumor mill. I have some sources, some resources that said Scott Frost has already been made an offer.
Really?
Scott Frost has already accepted an offer to come to Nebraska. Mike Riley is going to be taking a position in the athletic department, but he's going to be he's going to be resigning from head coaching duties. I don't know when. Don't know when this is going to happen.
It's going to happen the freaking Saturday after the Iowa game.
So either happens at the end of the season or happens before the end of the season. Either way, there's a rumor going around that Scott Frost has already signed a $6 million 7-year deal to come to Nebraska.
What?
Get you excited. So Husker fans,
You
you heard it here first. Maybe you heard it somewhere else, but you heard it here on Two Average Guys. So
after this show, you're going to tell me your sources.
Make us popular. So Nebraska, and I think it's going to have to be the right move. A lot of people think Scott Frost isn't the right guy, and I've been trying to think a lot about it. And you think about the offensive mind that he has. What he's done at Central Florida, they're still undefeated. He flipped them around in 2 seasons.
And they had a tough game yesterday. It was a road game, and just like
SMU.
any point in time, you're gonna have a tough road game.
SMU plays ranked opponents very tough.
They played TCU pretty. I think TCU beat them by 20, but I mean still.
But
and Frost's wife is about to go into labor any minute.
Yeah,
and he's on the road.
Yeah,
it's a little.
So whether or not you think he's the right call, he's gonna do better than Riley. He's gonna bring in the offensive guys that are gonna do what they can. He's gonna
not
like
only
Bradley.
that,
You got Bradley and Jebbia.
Oh, Jebbia's gonna play in it. He's gonna be.
But look at those two guys though. If you bring in Frost, guess what's gonna come back? You're gonna get McNitt in there, or McNitt's a senior. You're gonna get a fullback in there, and you're gonna be running the option.
Miles kid.
Yeah,
is a fullback.
Let's get it going. But so you like I said, you heard it here first. Scott Frost. He's coming to Nebraska.
We're going to have to talk about that.
7-year deal, $6 million.
7 years? $6 million a year?
We're going to have to talk about this.
Yes. But, no. Yeah. If we get him, then Jebbia is going to start next year, I would guess. Because he's a dual threat quarterback.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that Scott Frost has done at Central Florida. You take an 0-12 team, and then you're 6-6. They could go 12-0 this year.
They good. They're going to get a big Holiday Bowl game. They're going to get a big bowl.
But not just bringing the right players in, but the players that you have.
Develop them.
Yes, and like we're going to have Spielman for 3 more years.
God.
He's going to be unbelievable.
We got Stanley Morgan again. He's going to be a senior.
Yes.
So we have
Lindsey, Bradley.
Stoll had a good catch.
Trey Bryant, he's back for another.
Trey Bryant. He's going to be
3 years.
So you have guys that can be developed, and I think that's, once again, something that we're missing on the coaching staff is development.
Dude, if that is
you mentioned that last year, some of our defenders, our defense was better last year than it is this year, which is saying a lot. But our defense is better, or was better last year. Then nothing has been done to make them better this year than what they were last year, and that is what is missing. So, if that rumor that I heard from my sources is true, and Scott Frost is coming, I'm a little more excited than I was a few weeks ago.
Yes. Okay. The good thing about if you bring Frost in. And I know we've got a lot of other stuff to talk about.
Oh, we're fine. We're good.
Going on.
We only got 18 minutes in. We're 19 minutes.
Okay.
We're good. Plenty of time.
So the thing about bringing him in is he's a young coach. You can give him, and you said 7 years.
Yep.
You have to, at that point, I mean, yes, when he comes in, you're going to want the team to be good pretty much right away, which I think they could be.
Mm-hmm.
But he doesn't have to freaking win a national championship in the first 3 years. When you bring in a 62-year-old coach that has been a 500 coach, yeah, I mean, there was some promise and stuff.
That's why he's so damn tired on the sidelines.
I mean, yeah, after 3 years,
Nap
sorry,
is bedtime.
bro, one season was already under 500. This season's going to be the same. With Scott Frost coming in, Tom Osborne didn't win a national championship right away.
No.
So,
but
and he's a young coach, so bring this culture back. Get us back to where we used to be, where we want to be, and even if it takes a little bit of time, I think, especially since he's young and he's a Nebraska guy, people aren't gonna freaking say fire Frost right away.
Yeah.
Even if he has a bad season.
Yeah. And I think people are gonna be more willing to give him time than
if he has an 8-4 season and we lose a couple games that maybe we shouldn't have. We can still.
Well, and people know what he did at Oregon. They know what he did with that Oregon offense. Now they see what he's done with UCF. People are going to be excited if he comes in. So I think the fans are going to be behind him, and I think he's going to get the biggest ovation any coach has ever gotten at Nebraska once he steps foot on that field next year in 2018.
Frost comes in, we will win a conference championship, and
it's happening.
Yep, and then at some point in time we're going to be going to that playoff, baby.
Hell yeah! So more to come on that in the coming weeks, but. Anyways, let's move on. So I told you I had something for you.
now I can't even talk the rest of the show. I don't even know.
He doesn't even know.
You're gonna be talking about something, and I'm gonna be like, wait. So I'm just gonna make a Frost comment.
What happened? So all the games that we picked for this week were all the ranked teams playing each other. There's a lot of ranked opponents playing one another, which made the weekend pretty exciting, and it really it was a fun day. The thing that sucked about yesterday. All the good games were at the same time.
Yeah, come on now. And they're at the same time as us. I can't not watch Nebraska.
The only night game was Virginia Tech Miami, and that ended up actually being not a terrible game. But
Alabama and LSU was.
No one here in Omaha cares about Alabama, and if you do, you're in the wrong state.
I was just kind of watching, hoping LSU might give them a game.
Well, they kept it close. Yeah. So we'll get to that. So let's talk about some of the losses. Michigan State beat Penn State. So Penn State loses in back-to-back weeks. Michigan State wins 27-24 on a final field goal to win the game.
A weird game, just the 4-hour delay or whatever.
3 hours and 22-minute delay for Lightning.
They had to evacuate the stadium.
Evacuated.
I didn't really get to watch because obviously when they kicked back up again,
that was an 11 o'clock game.
It was an 11 o'clock game, but. So I saw that last field goal that Michigan State made to win the game, and it looked like there was nobody there.
Yeah.
And I was like, how do they do that? When they have to evacuate the stadium, do they, like, stamp your hand? Or because people, I mean, you've probably done it before. You go to a game, and they tear off your ticket stub, and you put it in your pocket, or throw it away, or whatever. How do they let you back in the game?
It was probably a ticket stub, would be my guess.
That they just give it to you when you walk out or something? They give you something?
Yeah. And it probably didn't do that. You probably had to have your ticket. I don't know. But Michigan State wins. So they were number 24. Penn State was number 7. Michigan State wins. Michigan State actually has an opportunity to play in the Big Ten championship game.
Oh,
they have Ohio State this weekend. They have to beat Ohio State.
Where's that game at? Did I say? It's at Ohio State.
It's at Ohio State. So they're playing at the Horseshoe. That's a game to watch for this weekend because Michigan State they've looked really good this year, and then they've had a couple bad games, but you
were right, Pootie. You said they had
did
early in the season.
You did, and I doubted you.
So did I.
Never thought I would doubt.
You said that they were going to be a contender in the East, and they just might win it.
They have a shot now. So so Michigan State, look out for them this weekend. They got Ohio State coming up. Wisconsin, Indiana. So I thought this game would be a little bit closer, and it actually was close for a long time. It was close.
It was 24-17 at the end.
Close for a long time, and then Wisconsin, 45-17. They really just took control of the game. They've done this before. They score late, and they score a lot.
This is what they do. They wear you out. They run it down your throat all game.
Yep.
So that it's close, right around the end of the third quarter,
yep.
And then the fourth quarter they
close it out.
Yep, they just.
And that's what they did. And Indiana, had a good game for 3 quarters, and they just couldn't finish. Wisconsin remains undefeated. They move up to number 6 in the AP poll after that win. They were at number 9 or 10, but they moved. Or no, sorry, they were at
4,
and they dropped.
Playoff rankings come out, and they are at 9 or 10.
They were at 10. Yep. So it's going to be interesting to see where they put them at in the playoff. If you ask me, though, after this weekend, they have to be probably 6 or 7.
I don't see how you can. I know, yes, their non-conference was terrible, opponent-wise.
Yep.
But like I said to you yesterday, you can't help who's on your conference schedule.
Yeah, you really can't.
And the fact that Ohio State, Michigan State, and Penn State are not on your schedule, that's not your fault necessarily. Now, what did we see a couple years ago? Iowa didn't have those teams on their schedule. Yep. They didn't play Ohio State or Michigan a couple years back. Going into that last game in the Big Ten championship, they were sitting at 5. They were sitting at 4.
Yep.
They were going to playoff. I still think there's a couple of crazy things that are going to happen this year over these next couple weeks.
But Wisconsin still has a chance to get in. I mean, they
took a
have
hit
to,
yesterday.
They have to win the Big Ten. Wisconsin has to win.
They took a hit yesterday with those other teams losing because their biggest win will be that Big Ten championship if that's the case. And now, we're not sure who that's going to be and how highly ranked they're going to be.
Yep, so let's switch from the Big Ten to the ACC. So Clemson, number 4 at NC State. That game was close pretty much all game.
It was back and forth all
ended up being 38-31 Clemson. So, I mean, once again, that's their only remaining opponent that's ranked. So they got 3 more weeks, and not a single one of their opponents is ranked. They don't play Miami. The only chance they play Miami, which is probably going to happen, it actually is. It's solidified. They're going to play them in the ACC championship.
It is now that Miami beat Virginia Tech yesterday.
Yes. So now Miami and Clemson are going to see each other in the ACC championship. The question is, the next few weeks is Miami. Miami's got Notre Dame next week.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
Even if they are a one-loss team going to the ACC championship and their one loss is Notre Dame, and Notre Dame wins out, Miami beats Clemson. Miami, you got to put them in the playoff. Don't you think?
I mean, you would. Yes, you would.
Over, let's say, an Ohio State.
What if
Big Ten champ who has 2 losses?
Let's say Wisconsin does run the table and wins the Big Ten championship. Gosh, there's just so many different things.
You
especially
would think,
with Notre Dame playing some of these teams, like playing Miami this week, and
they got Stanford in the last week.
Too bad. Notre Dame and Clemson didn't play this year.
Touche.
Which I think Notre Dame would probably beat Clemson.
I think they would. I think they would.
And Tim, if you actually watch, I was just messing with you, bro.
Messing with you. But Clemson wins. They're probably going to stay at number 4. I don't see the top 4 in the playoff changing, but
no, they won't. I kept saying yesterday, this team did this and this team did that. But especially with Alabama and Georgia only winning by 14 points, I mean, that obviously won't change.
No.
And no one's going to jump them. But
let's talk the ass kicking that happened at Kinnick Stadium.
It was fantastic.
55.
I don't cheer for Iowa very often, but in a game
I
like that,
was
absolutely.
jumping up and down, screaming like a little girl when they intercepted J.T. Barrett again in that fourth quarter. My God, was I happy. I could not explain how
pick 6 on the first
I
play of
was.
the game.
And then they came out and scored like 3 or 4 plays later. But what did I say last weekend about Iowa's defense going up against J.T. Barrett? What did I say?
You said you get some pressure, just like Oklahoma did. He's going to make mistakes. He's going to throw some interceptions.
And Iowa
Basically,
win the game.
They should just put you on the TV, Matt.
Iowa's got a shot. I'd love to be on TV, but this is the closest I get. And I'm no expert. Trust me, I'm wrong plenty of times, but I was right about this, and I'm pretty happy. Now, what I didn't see, I saw a low-scoring game.
Yeah,
I didn't see Iowa putting up 55
especially
points.
if you look at Iowa's, which we were before this, before we started, looking at their scores. All their games are like 17-10, whether they won or lost.
Yeah, they had 2 games in the 40s, Iowa State and then Illinois, I think.
Which that was kind of funny too, because Iowa State doesn't give up very many points either.
That was
That's
early
an
on. That was like
interesting
second game of the season, I think. But so, anyways, Iowa. I mean, the quarterback was. Was it a different quarterback? I mean,
I don't know
who
who that dude was.
Because man, he was throwing bullets. Iowa played the best game they'll probably play in the next 5 years.
They played absolutely incredible.
Not because I think Ohio State is a top 4 team. I never have all year. I said at the beginning of the year that they were ranked too high and they're going to lose a couple games.
I thought after last week they were a top 4 team.
Yeah, and I bet everyone probably did. But that's because they beat Penn State. Now, this week they come out and they get their shit rocked by Iowa. They should drop out of the top 15 if you ask me. They might not. But either way, Ohio State doesn't have a chance at the playoff.
Which is fantastic.
Even if they win the Big Ten championship, they are done.
The only reason that I want a Big Ten team to make the playoff, so I wanted Wisconsin to have a good opponent. I mean, I wanted Penn State.
Yeah. If a Big Ten team is going to make the playoff, it's going to be Michigan State or it's going to be Wisconsin. Michigan State could. They have 2 losses. So a very slim chance, which is why I think Wisconsin's their only chance. If Wisconsin gets in, I'll take it because it's Big Ten. But
I don't want Wisconsin.
I don't think that Wisconsin's gonna do it. I don't see it. We'll talk about upcoming games here in a second. But I just don't think so.
I would say the Big Ten very easily could have played themselves out of the playoff yesterday.
Just like the Big 12. So let's talk Oklahoma, number 5, played at Oklahoma State, number 11. And, man, that was a shootout. I mean, what a boring game to watch. Unless you like a video game, unless you like playing video games and playing it on beginner and just kicking the crap out of the opponent and not having it and not caring about defense. I mean, 62 to 52.
I'm going to disagree with you because I like a lot of scoring. The only thing is it's kind of frustrating because it's like, how can they recruit all this top talent that can score so many points, but then you can't recruit anybody to play defense at all?
Yeah. I mean, and that's what they talked about Oklahoma's defense against Ohio State. So okay, Oklahoma State, Rudolph is good. He threw for over 400 yards on 26 completions. But Baker Mayfield, 24 completions for 598 yards. When you average average over 25 yards a pass, and one of your receivers is averaging 29 yards per catch,
that's pretty bad.
I'm not Baker Mayfield.
That's almost like crazier than video game.
It is
video game stats.
So okay, I've been very clear. I don't like Baker Mayfield. I think he's a good quarterback, yes, but he is a trashy person. I think his character and his morale, his morals, I think he is an awful person, but he's a good quarterback. But that does not show him as a good quarterback just because he throws for 598 yards. I could do that with Tanner Lee in a video game. I could.
I mean, I don't know all of them. I know he had a 77-yard touchdown, and it was a long pass that he threw on that one.
He threw a couple long passes.
He threw a couple long ones, but like you said in previous weeks, you throw like a screen pass or like an 8-yard pass, and
they go 70
yards. I mean,
that's not on the quarterback.
Yeah, I'm not sure. And yeah, he's probably the front runner for the Heisman after this week.
He probably is now after a couple losses for Penn State. Barkley has had a couple bad games in a row.
He didn't do much yesterday.
Which is unfortunate because this is different than last week. After 6 weeks last year, Lamar Jackson had the win. He had the Heisman. It was in his pocket, and then they lost 4 games. But that Heisman was in his pocket after week 6.
Right.
Barkley, the thing I think separates this year from last year is you have guys like Adams, you have Bryce Love, you have Baker Mayfield. J.T. Barrett was up there, but now he's not going to be. He's done. You have so many other good athletes that have the opportunity to go to New York this year. Baker Mayfield's going to be one of them, yes. There's no doubt. Baker Mayfield's going to be one of them.
For sure.
But there's so many good athletes out there. I mean, is anyone from Alabama going to be there? Is anyone from Wisconsin going to be there?
The running back, Taylor, should be. He should be in the discussion right now.
Yeah.
I saw the Heisman deal last week. It was Barkley was still 1, Mayfield was 2, or
Love's got to be up there. Adams
or not Mayfield. Barrett was up there, which will drop off. Alabama had a defensive
guy. Yeah, okay. Defense ain't gonna win.
And Josh Adams was in there, who he got hurt this week, and
but he's still averaging over 100 yards over the last 4 games. He's been over 100
yards.
Yeah,
I don't know the severity of his injury. So if he's back against Miami and he has a big game, why not? Absolutely.
Yep. So there's a lot of potential this year. Last year, I mean, Jackson was that standout player that everyone was watching, and you couldn't deny that he was going to win the Heisman after week 6. And then it's like, oh, I got the Heisman in the back of my pocket. I'm going to now, team's going to suck. But really, I mean, anyone from Clemson is Bryant from Clemson going to be up there? I don't think so. But they always end up someone in the top 4 goes, even if they're not deserving to go.
It's kind of a weird year. Like, I don't know.
You look at the top
Georgia.
10, Chubb,
Frob.
I mean, there's so many guys in the top 10, but there's guys outside the top 10 that are hella good, like Bryce Love playing for Stanford, who's having a really bad year.
Yeah, they lost again this week, and they're out of the top 25.
Yeah, so there's the Heisman's going to get interesting, but let's keep talking about the games. Bama, LSU, 24-10. So I didn't think LSU had a shot at that game, but it was still going to be interesting. And only a 14-point lead, or 14-point win, not really that impressive, but right now, a win's a win. Now, a win or a loss is also a loss, especially when you lose by 21 points. Or 31 points. Right. So if you're going to lose and you're an undefeated team, you can't lose by a lot of points. So So Bama, I mean, Bama takes care of LSU. They only won by 14, but they're playing LSU, who is an SEC opponent. People are going to say they're not a bad opponent, but that's pretty much it. So Bama wins. TCU and Texas, so pretty close game. Most of the game was pretty close. Ended up being 24-7.
Yeah, 17-7
17
for a
to 7
long
for
time.
a long time. So I think fourth quarter they end up scoring again. TCU ends up winning at home 24-7. So that's a Big 12 team that people are going to have to look out for. If they win out, they're playing in the Big 12 championship. They potentially, if they win the Big 12, their one loss is to Iowa State, who now kind of trickled. They lost this weekend.
Right, but that's still a better loss than frickin' Syracuse.
Yeah. So I think there's an opportunity there for TCU to sneak in from the Big 12 if they can win the Big 12 championship to be in the playoff.
The problem
It's a
with the
slim
Big
chance.
12 is two of the teams are going to have to play each other in the conference championship.
Yep.
And
It's a slim chance, but they have a chance.
I mean, TCU and Oklahoma play this week.
Yep.
It's pretty much an elimination game right there. We'll get to
we'll get to
coming
games.
up.
And then Virginia Tech and Miami, that was the night game. So
It was a good game.
Like I said, it kind of sucked because that was the only game that was on at night. I never watched Miami, nor will I probably ever watch them. But Miami,
Their quarterback's good.
Yeah.
Rozier.
yeah, Rozier,
He's
yeah.
pretty good.
Rozier had a very good game. He can run, he can throw. He's a bigger quarterback too. So if someone's going to hit him, he's smart enough to go down when he has to. But if he needs to take a hit, he will.
Yeah, he's pretty stocky.
He's a
can-
stout dude.
Yeah, and I mean, their defense played pretty well. Only gave up 10 points.
Yeah. So that was the first time I watched
Yeah, me
any
too.
Miami all year,
Me too.
and what I have watched of them was
I mean, I
very
watched a little bit. Yeah, I watched a little bit. Here and
but
there.
I still didn't. I've been calling them a pretender all year.
Mhm.
Now I can change my mind and go back on my word because they're showing that hey, we should be up in the top 7 teams now after this weekend because
That's
we're
the thing.
undefeated. We're in the ACC. We're the only undefeated ACC team, including the one-loss Clemson, who they should probably be ahead of.
Yeah.
Probably should be ahead of them. They're not going to
And
be.
if they beat Notre Dame this weekend, they will be.
Yes. So, and that game might be one of the best games to watch this weekend.
Man, this weekend could be about the best week because
huge playoff implications.
there's 3 different games with what I believe will be
Yep.
top 10 teams. But we'll get there.
Let's talk about it now. So Miami wins 28-10. So we got Michigan State at Ohio State this weekend. So that's huge because once again, Michigan State,
The winner of that game will win the East.
the winner of that game wins the East and is playing in the championship game for the Big Ten if they win the remaining 2 games.
I believe so.
I think they will. But
I know Ohio State plays Michigan later,
Yeah.
obviously.
Then you got Oklahoma State at Iowa State. Now that
Both
game,
those teams lost this week.
that could be just a fun game to watch. I think that could be
Yeah.
a good game
Because Oklahoma State's offense is awesome and Iowa State's defense is pretty good.
But
so.
neither of those 2 teams probably are going to play in the Big 12 championship. A lot has to happen in the next 3 weeks for that to
Right.
happen. Georgia at Auburn. Now this game is huge because nobody should be sleeping on Auburn in the next 3 weeks because Auburn's got Georgia and then Bama their last game in the Iron Bowl.
Right.
Nobody can sleep on them.
And they were like 14th last week, but I bet they'll be
They're probably
right
in the top
around.
10.
I think they'll be around 10, and just because they'll want to have a 1-10 matchup.
Yeah, that's true, and I don't mind that because I think Auburn is worthy enough to be there. They're good enough. Stidham is a damn good quarterback.
Yeah.
He might still be in the Heisman talk, but Stidham is very good on offense. And you're talking about a Georgia team and an Alabama team who don't score a ton of points because their defense is really good.
Right.
So Auburn can put up some points, and it's not on the ground all the time. So a lot of time it's in the air. Majority of their touchdowns are going to be through the air. So I think Auburn is a team that no one can really sleep on because they can have 2 upsets in the next 3 weeks that can really, really screw up the playoff.
They said,
and make it more fun.
They said, I was reading a deal that said if Auburn knocked off Georgia and Alabama,
Mm-hmm.
it would be the first time that a 2-loss team would make the playoff.
It-
Which I wouldn't necessarily disagree with. Just depends on what else happens.
Yeah. So who did Auburn lose to?
They lost to Clemson on the road.
Oh, that's right.
Or was it on the road or was it at home? Lost 14-6. Second week.
Yeah, 14-6
At
in week
Clemson.
2. Yep, and then they lost to LSU. So that loss right there to LSU
LSU loss was brutal, man.
Yeah.
You guys could be sitting right in that 5 to 8 range.
Yeah, so really, but they still have a shot to upset some teams, and that is always exciting when you have potential upsets coming up in the last 3 weeks of the season where so much can happen.
Right.
Bama's at Mississippi State, so Mississippi State's they were ranked. I can't
Yeah,
remember
they were losing to UMass this week.
Oh, that's right. They ended up winning.
They won
but-
by 34 to 23 or something.
But hell of a close game. I mean, they're still going to be ranked. They're going to come in. They're going to have
And they'll
to play.
probably move up because there's teams that lost. But
And Bama's playing on the road at Mississippi State. I'd say watch that game. I don't know. I haven't watched Mississippi State all this year.
I mean, me either. So I don't really know.
Yeah, I don't know what's
got
gonna
a couple
happen there.
losses, but
And then we got TCU at Oklahoma. So
another top 10 matchup.
that top 10 matchup. TCU might be sitting at number 8 still. We'll see.
I don't know.
How do they move? You got to put Wisconsin, Miami, and Oklahoma all up in the top 7.
Yeah, I think that even though Penn State and Ohio State lost in front of them, I don't think TCU. I could see TCU staying there and jumping Wisconsin and Miami up there in front of them.
Yeah, I see Oklahoma at 5, and then I think you're going to have Miami, Wisconsin, and then TCU. But TCU, once again, they're playing Oklahoma at Oklahoma, but TCU I think has a good shot to beat them. That's my upset pick of the week.
Okay, I mean,
upset. I'm going to put quotes around that because I still think that. I still am questioning how good Oklahoma really is.
They both lost. They both lost to Iowa State. That's each one of their losses.
That in common, yeah.
Is Iowa State, and they lost maybe by the same amount, 7 points.
Yeah.
So Oklahoma maybe lost by. No, I think they did lose by 7.
I think so. Yeah.
So I mean, pretty even.
That's gonna be a fun game to watch.
Good game.
And then Notre Dame at Miami. So Notre Dame at Miami is game day, and that is probably going to be a big decider in the playoff because if Miami beats Notre Dame, if they win at home, they beat Notre Dame. Notre Dame, a one-loss Notre Dame without a conference championship,
Well,
is
then have
no
2
longer,
losses.
Oh yeah, sorry, a 2 loss. If they lose, they'll have 2 losses, and they will be out of the playoff. Their only hope is to win out. If Miami wins,
if Notre Dame wins.
No, I'm saying
if Miami does win.
If Miami does win, Miami's going to be playing. They're going to be undefeated, playing in the ACC championship. They're going to win. I think they're going to win out. If they play in the ACC championship, I think they win, and they're going to be in the playoff. They solidify a spot in the ACC championship game
if
and in the
win this
playoff
weekend.
if they win this weekend. If Notre Dame wins this weekend, Notre Dame just has to get past Stanford. They still have a tough matchup last game of the year against Stanford.
Yeah. I don't. Before watching Miami and Virginia Tech last night, I would have said Notre Dame was going to win by 2 touchdowns at least.
Yeah.
After watching Miami last night, they seemed like they were a little pissed.
Yeah.
About this first ranking coming out.
Yeah. They weren't happy about it
because everybody and their brother was taking Virginia Tech in that game last night.
Yeah.
And even myself, I thought Virginia Tech was going to roll them up. I texted them. I don't know. Now, I think that could be a really, really good Saturday night game.
It is. It's going to be fun. So let's take a look at the remaining games. So we know Georgia has Auburn, but then they got Kentucky and Georgia Tech. Georgia beats Auburn. I think they're fine. They're going to win out.
Kentucky and Georgia Tech are...
Bama, they got Mississippi State, but then they got Mercer and Auburn. So once again, Auburn being their last game, that's going to be the hurdle they have to get over to remain in the top 2 teams and go to the playoff. Notre Dame, after Miami, they got Navy and Stanford. So Stanford's going to be their tough matchup. Navy is always you just never know.
One of those tricky ones.
But Notre Dame is better this year than they have been over the last few years. I think Notre Dame wins that pretty easily. Clemson, Florida State, just kill Florida State. But then they got Citadel, South Carolina, so their schedule's easy. Like I said, that was their last ranked opponent, NC State. The only other ranked opponent they played was Auburn.
South Carolina could be tough because it's in-state rival game. And South Carolina kept it pretty close with Georgia, so...
They did.
We'll see.
Then you got OU, TCU this weekend, but then they got Kansas, which they're going to put up 100 points on them and maybe allow 1 yard. And then they got West Virginia. So West Virginia we thought was going to maybe be a game to watch. I don't know anymore.
They beat Iowa State yesterday, so...
It's still good. It still could be a game to watch.
Iowa State beat Oklahoma, so...
It's true. Ohio State, they're out now. They're out of the playoff, but they got Illinois and Michigan after Michigan State.
Yep.
Penn State, they lost. They're going to be done. They got Rutgers, then they got Nebraska. And by God, I don't want to watch that game. And then Maryland. So they're going to win out, but they got 2 losses. They're done. TCU, they got Oklahoma. Then they got Texas Tech and Baylor. So those 3, Oklahoma's their tough matchup. Texas Tech, Baylor won their first game, but they played Kansas. But TCU, if they get past Oklahoma, they're going to win out and probably win the Big 12. Wisconsin, they have.
You didn't put Wisconsin and Iowa on this list for games this week.
No, we were going to talk about it. Yeah, I didn't. But
okay.
Wisconsin's got Iowa this weekend. So that game, Iowa could.
It's at Wisconsin, which helps, I think. But that could be a pretty decent game.
It could be. After Iowa just kicked the shit out of Ohio State, that game, Iowa loves knocking off ranked opponents. They love it. They
always do it.
They could lose to one of the worst teams in the NCAA, and then they come out and kick the crap out of someone like Ohio State.
It's crazy.
I mean, it's just unreal. So I'd look out for that game, Wisconsin-Iowa this weekend. I might have to. You're looking at another offense on the run game is their strong point, and you're looking at an Iowa defense who destroys running teams and can really destroy a quarterback who is mobile. So I might have to pick a second upset and take Iowa to knock off Wisconsin.
Wow.
I hate doing that, but with watching them this last weekend, I think Iowa is more than capable of beating Wisconsin.
I'm sure there's plenty of people that are fans of some of these teams that are right up there that would love to have Iowa.
But then they got Michigan and they got Minnesota. Miami, they got Notre Dame, but then they got Virginia and they got Pitt. So their remaining 3 games for Miami are not going to be a cakewalk. So
we'll have to see when the rankings actually do come out, but you're going to have to add Washington.
Washington ended up at number 9 in the AP poll.
They only have 1 loss, which was a bad loss to Arizona State.
And we talked about the Pac-12 being out, but with Washington, you look at that loss, but then you look at that was early in the year, not early, but midway.
It was the same week that Clemson lost to
Syracuse. So you're looking about halfway through the season. What's a worse loss, Clemson or Washington? They're both bad. So I don't know if you can really compare.
The only comparison I would say is, if Clemson does end up going down and playing Miami for a conference championship, that would be a better win than Washington
playing like a Stanford or something,
USC or whatever.
Yeah. But
we'll see.
We'll see. I mean, we still have a lot to happen over the next 3 weeks, and this weekend's
probably the biggest week.
Now we thought last weekend was going to be the biggest, but this weekend is even bigger because
the weekend after that, then the weekend after that.
Yeah, because more stuff happened this weekend than we probably expected to happen as far as losses with Iowa State losing. With Iowa State losing and with Michigan State beating Penn State. So now you got Michigan State possibly in the driver's seat for the Big Ten East if they can beat Ohio State this weekend. Ohio State got their shit rocked. No one expected that over Iowa. I mean, it's just crazy. And I told you last week. I told somebody to go to that game. They got offered a ticket for $50 to go to the Ohio State game.
Oh man,
and he's
awesome.
He's like, should I go?
If you're a fan.
He's like, should I go? I'm like, I turned down an $80 ticket to go watch Nebraska get their shit rocked by Ohio State, and that's the reason why I turned down the ticket. I'm like, and I told him the same thing I told you with Iowa's defense and them getting after JT Barrett. I said they can win that game. $50, you better go to that game.
There you go.
And he went, and he said I texted him during the game. Because at one point they showed an Ohio State fan in the sea of black and gold, and he just looked miserable because at that point they were only up by 2 touchdowns. I think it was 31-17 and a half, and they showed this guy with his arms crossed, and he was in the student section. I'm like, dude, if you're a student at Iowa and you're at this game, you're stupid. At least wear something that doesn't say Ohio State. But it didn't end well for that guy. But he's like, dude, I'm like three people away from him, and he said he was miserable. Over $50 to go watch your team kick the crap out of a top 10 team when you're 5-3 was pretty exciting. So. A lot to happen.
I think if Michigan State wins the East, I think they beat Wisconsin in the Big Ten championship.
I do too. Michigan State,
just that style.
They pride themselves on defense.
That style that they play is going to counter what Wisconsin does. It always does.
They pride themselves on defense.
Yeah.
I'm excited for the next 3 weeks. There's a big reason why I love college football, and you guys can probably see my passion when we're on the show and see Jimmy's passion, but it's so exciting to watch. And these kids are athletes, man. You see them, it's like, are you sure you're not like 40 years old? Because you're a beast.
Yeah.
And I think of myself at the age 30, and I'm like, I don't got a six pack.
Yeah,
I don't got arms like that. I don't
I'm
have
not
sleeves
6'5",
attached.
240 that can
240,
run like a 4.5 40.
So these kids are freaks and they're athletes, and it's fun to watch them play because they care about the game as much as they do. And these are guys you're going to see at the next level playing in the pros.
Yeah.
And so it's fun to be able to see them in college. And then you get to the pros and it's like, showboating. You got stuff they never did in college.
You got Ezekiel Elliott that just keeps dodging a suspension every week.
Yeah. People getting away with murder or everything but murder, I guess.
Ray Lewis.
Yeah, right.
Murdered someone.
So did Hernandez, but it's so much fun to watch these college games because there is a lot of excitement. The fans get into it. You watch a pro game, and it's kind of ho-hum. It's not nearly as exciting. You don't get the fans into it as much as you do.
I never understood the pro argument over college because I've heard from people. And maybe it's different because we don't live in a city that has a pro team.
Yeah. Jason Witten, baby.
It would be, there's flag. It would be nice to, okay, we lost this week, regroup, and, we can still make the playoffs.
Yeah.
In college football, you cannot, you lose and your season could be potentially over.
And that's why it's so much fun because you can't lose, so you have to prepare and be that much better.
I know. And yeah, I heard somebody, they were like, oh man, I just can't watch college football. The skill level is just not the same. I'm like, dude.
I don't know what football you're watching.
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about because literally a game can be changed in one play in 93-yard touchdown run.
Yeah. Or a 99-yard kick return.
Or pick six. In the pro, and the games just go so much faster because the clock runs so much. And
yeah. You don't get the same excitement level, and that's why I think college is so much better. I'll watch my Cowboys, but at the same time, I don't even get the same excitement watching them. If they lose, they're 4-3 right now. Do I care? No, because guess what? They go 8-8 and win the division. So
they're not going to win the division against
not with the Eagles,
but
they can still win the division depending on how the Eagles do. But college is fun. Yeah, the Huskers, they suck this year.
But we got Frost for 7 years.
There you go.
And then some.
So,
according to Matt.
There you go.
And
my sources. But it's exciting. It's fun. I'm looking forward. I still watch the Huskers, and I still cheer them on. I still get pissed. I've never bitched and moaned about the Huskers more than I have this year.
I don't think so.
But
2 years ago, we had a new coach, and we went 5-7.
And the Bill Callahan era was bad too. But
I lived away during that time.
That's true, you did.
And I had hockey tournaments every single weekend, so I never got to watch Husker games.
You're lucky. Anyway, so it's fun. We got a lot going on this year. We got a lot going on with Two Average Guys. We're going to keep bringing you the action. We really, truly enjoy you guys watching and commenting when you do. Even if you don't, we still enjoy doing this if we have 10
Yeah, I don't care if
1,000
there's nobody
views.
watching.
It's
I
fun
gotta
for
drink
us.
beer
And we drink beer and hang out.
Talk about football.
So go Big Red as always. Hopefully we come back next week against Minnesota. They are favored in that game. About 64%, I think.
It was like 60. ESPN's expert projectors had Minnesota 61% to win.
But
it'll be interesting to see what that line is. It's going to probably be a pretty low-scoring game, I would bet.
We're playing at Minnesota. I still bet on my Huskers every week, so I bet on us to win. Then we got Penn State. So go Big Red all the time. Always got to hope for the best, and if the worst happens, then you know what?
Should be a really fun week this week.
Should be. I'm
excited.
excited.
Even if we lose, that'll be good football.
Yeah, and if I'm excited for football this weekend. Go Big Red. I'm Matt.
I'm Jimmy.
We're Two Average Guys, and that's just our opinion. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. We'll be back next week. We'll talk to you on Tuesday.
Sure.